Okay, we're going to talk about high density hair placement. This is creating high density hairlines, essentially, places where we want to get hairs really close together to create a really naturally feathered look, something that's beautiful and natural versus something that's coarse and thick. This is actually a very kind of technical detail I figured out recently. And that's because when we were making our insertion sites before, we would have grafts of all different sizes from our sequential extraction, like these nice little pretty fine hair grafts that are like small compared to these big chunky 2 and 3 hair grafts. We now figured out how to get the hairs out such that the size matched the size of the graft. But we had the same size hole we were making in the scalp, these she-shaped size placed like this that essentially can only be placed so close together. And we did have different size of these cores to accommodate those grafts, but they were actually geometrically, because they were circles, they can only go as close. But if we can convert them into lines, we can achieve much higher density. And that's something that we figured out and the right blade to do this. Now, this is one of the arguments I have against DHI, direct hair implantation. This is when you have a core that the graft fits inside. And when it pokes into the skin, the graft inserts and gets left in the graft. And when the core comes out, the graft stays in the skin. Well, that core has to be bigger than the graft, right? And that means it can only be placed so close together. You have to use some intervening skin that's actually there. But that graft actually doesn't need this big of a core to live. It actually wants to be nice and snug, and you can make it into slits. So we use something called an SP88, SP89. These are a different kind of blades that makes a little slit. And these little slits can be placed very, very close together. Now, it takes a lot more precision and delicate handling of the grafts themselves to place them within these slits than it does to place them within the core. And that's why most people would do it. But for the hairline itself, we do something called high density grafting, where we actually use a different incision method using these slits than we do the rest of the scalp to get higher density in the grafts. It allows me to use nice, fine, feathered hair grafts to make a hairline still look dense, but more beautiful than a coarse doll's hair look with the thicker grafts. A hairline that is too low in density because we can't get them spliced close enough together. So really nice natural hairlines with high density grafting.